Congress has passed a new stimulus bill, so to speak. That's probably a good thing, even though we're going into communism and socialism, because the economy continues to sink. We continue to hear reports of horror stories on Fox News, on MSNBC, on CNN. The country continues to be in disarray. No one knows when it's going to be opening up again. Governors are at odds with the president. The president's at odds with governors. Frankly, we don't know where any of them stand. It's really a big mess. But what's most important right now, in addition to getting back to work, getting back to our daily lives, not being treated like children, not being relegated to our homes under threat of fine or arrest, is the fact that Chinese need to be held accountable. And I'm not talking about the Chinese people, as I've said, who are good people. I'm talking about the Chicoms, the communist Chinese in Beijing, who brought the world to its knees, who has destroyed the economies of the Western world, of Africa, of South America, and elsewhere. Now, I'm generally supportive of the president. I've been very supportive of the president. In fact, I would have helped him a lot more if it hadn't been for Roger Stone, who obviously told him to stay away from Larry Klayman and Freedom Watch. And Stone will get his in the end, whether or not he's pardoned or not. In fact, I'm going to write a column on WorldNet Daily tonight, and I hope that you'll read it. It'll be up on WND.com and also on freedomwatchusa.org on the reasons why Stone should not be pardoned. He's not really interested in having a new trial. He'd be convicted very quickly, as I said. He had no witnesses. He presented no witnesses, and he had no real documentary evidence. He's dead to rights legally, and you cannot allow that to happen in our legal system, regardless of our worthless Attorney General Barr not indicting Comey, McCabe, and the rest of the other liars. Their day will come at some point when the people rise up peacefully and legally, as we're doing at Freedom Watch. But getting back to the president, you have to ask yourself the question why he hasn't been stronger with China, why Freedom Watch had to bring a class action lawsuit, why Freedom Watch had to file a criminal complaint in The Hague, Holland, while the strongest the president has been is to call it the China virus. One has to be scratching one's head under these circumstances. Well, there's a report today, I take it with a grain of salt, in Politico, Politico. It's a left of center publication. It's not ultra left, but it is left of center in Washington, D.C., which reports the tens of millions of dollars of loans that the Trump organization now has to pay back. The loans are coming due to the Bank of China. Now, this is something which is serious. Is that why the president is so hesitant to go strong against China? He should rid himself of any debt with regard to the Chinese. He has to get himself free and clear of that, and we need to take strong action, not military action, but he needs to support our class action lawsuits, and he should also be filing criminal charges against the Chinese through his own Justice Department. It shouldn't have to be left to Freedom Watch to bring a case at the International Criminal Court in The Hague, Holland. And this is the problem. Regardless of who's president, and I believe that this president's the best that we can get for the next election. I'm not telling you who to vote for as head of Freedom Watch. I can tell you who I'll vote for personally. I will vote for President Trump. But the reality is that the government cannot be believed. You have to take everything with a grain of salt. Same thing as what I've been saying with the cable news networks, and less than a grain of salt. I wouldn't believe anything that comes out of their mouths at this point. They're whipping up panic. They're continuing to profit. I don't care if Fox executives say they've cut their salaries in half. They'll double them or triple them next year, and they're already worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So that's a joke, and that's simply a response to my criticism of them. But as far as the president's concerned, he needs to get his act together. As it currently stands, and I'm not saying this, and I don't wish this, God forbid, but the situation that he's in now, with the confusion that's out there with regard to coronavirus, COVID-19, it's going to be an extremely close election. And if Biden chooses Michelle Obama, as much as I despise her in terms of her views, she's anti-white, she's a racist, she would make Barack Obama look like a Boy Scout as president, because Biden's not going to last in office. But the president's at risk at losing, and that's why he can't be pardoning Stone as well right now and let justice run its course. But the other thing is that he needs to be stronger. He needs to take action. He has not been strong during this crisis. I'm sorry. And he most likely had intelligence early on from the NSA, from the CIA, that this was happening. He was diverted. The Democrats diverted him, obviously, preoccupied him with their witch hunts, with their impeachment. But now's the time to catch up. These intelligence agencies knew. The head of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Richard Burr, sold all of his stock before we even knew about the coronavirus. So did Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, also on that committee. They obviously got briefings. If they got briefings of the coronavirus, then so did the president, obviously. So I just want you to take everything with a grain of salt and support Freedom Watch, because we tell it like it is. We're not politicians. We don't have to get down on our knees. We don't have to ask for votes. We don't depend on anybody other than you, the American people. So go to freedomwatchusa.org, sign up for our class actions, support them with tax-deductible contributions. This is getting expensive. We've got other lawyers involved here and internationally. We're bringing cases in Israel. We're bringing them in other countries as well. And also support our criminal case at The Hague. And share this podcast. You can find it on freedomwatchusa.org, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Roku, on Amazon Fire, on Facebook, on Twitter. Share it far and wide. Get it out there, because the social media companies won't do it. And Freedom Watch has lawsuits against them, too. So go to freedomwatchusa.org. Join our Justice League. You are the heroes. You are the superheroes, not the people in government, our so-called government. God bless you. God bless your family. Stay safe. Have a good weekend. And I'll be back Monday with another special edition of our podcast. Until then, listen to our radio show, our weekly radio show. I'm going to have a Chinese dissident on there that'll tell you all about the inhumanity of the Chicoms and why we need to fight them, and why we cannot roll over and cannot get down on our knees, and why we cannot have loans from the Bank of China to create a potential conflict of interest. God bless America. God save America. And stay safe. Thank you for listening to me.